Carolyn. Hi, Carolyn.
Hi, Carolyn.
Morning.
Okay, so I'm going to call the Monday, January 11th, 2021 special selectmen meeting to order at 10 a.m. All three selectmen are present, and the first and only item on the agenda is the land donation to Wyndham Land Trust, Bull Hill Preserve discussion and possible action. So I know I had sent Mike, Steve, and Andy the letter that was provided to our board by our Conservation Commission regarding 7 parcels in the Bull Hill Preserve area and the potential of donating those to the land trust. The purpose of the meeting today is just to discuss this opportunity and to see if Wyndham Land Trust would be interested. And I know our my fellow selectmen had some questions regarding the donation. Yeah. And take it from there.
Okay.
Ask away.
No, this was presented to us and it just seems like such a big decision. And I think that we just needed a little more understanding and information as to what we were doing. So I was hoping that maybe Steve, you could talk about the land and the donation, if you're familiar with the parcels, and we've already sent it to P&Z.
It did go to Planning and Zoning, the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they gave their approval.
Right.
For the disposition of the land.
I don't know the specific parcels, Sue. Andy may know them better because he knows every inch of our property out there.
Yeah, they're all landlocked. 6 of them are really deep in the middle of the forest, and they're all adjacent to properties that we currently own. So they would fit in nicely. And there's one in the I call the northern part that that's closer to Ravenel Road, and 2 of the 3 boundaries are adjacent to land trust properties. And they're all forested, and there are some wetlands on them, but they're just part of that big forest block, and it'd be something that would be nice to add to the existing preserve.
Carolyn, did you have anything you wanted to share at this time?
No, well, I just held up the map so that Steve could see where they were. I'm not sure if he received a copy of that.
I did get that, Carolyn. Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay. I'm if you have questions or if there's anything I can contribute, I'm not sure that I don't have anything initially to say other than, what was said in all the communications, the emails and so forth.
Yeah, I assume that they're all parcels that were probably acquired by the town for lack of payment of taxes or something like that over the years.
I think many of them are.
Yeah. The Thompson Woods those were the old wood lots that the farmers would have. They'd go up and get their wood for their farm there. Now the only other people that are up there are folks that have, camps for hunting.
Sure.
And that's about it. So being landlocked, is there a possibility of them being developed? Highly unlikely, and will they remain open regardless of who owns them, the town or Wyndham Land Trust? Probably not going to be developed and will remain open space. It would make sense for us to be able to manage them along with the rest of the parcels that we've got up there and take that liability and responsibility away from the town.
And I've said it in our meetings, and after speaking pretty in depth with Carolyn, looking through the deeds, etc., that it makes sense since Wyndham Land Trust really steward the land. It's not just held; it's taken, it's cared for, and I think that means a lot. There is one parcel in particular that I am waiting for guidance from our town attorney on. One of the parcels, which was acquired in 1896. There's a question that it was meant for the benefit of the poor. And it's a question that's been posed to the town attorney, and I have not heard back from him as of yet. So is this something Wyndham Land Trust is interested in acquiring?
I'm one member, but I could say absolutely. Mike, you're our president.
Well, yeah, I don't know if Suzanne knows the whole history, or the rest of you know the whole history of Bull Hill and Wyndham Land Trust, but since early 2017 to now, we've accumulated over 1,000 acres up there. And it's Andy and I just went through our priorities list, and Bull Hill still is the major priority for the land trust as far as filling that out and making it a major recreational area for the town of Thompson and all of Northeast Connecticut. So, we've been trying to continue to accumulate, but frankly, all the rest of the property is not for sale. There's not one parcel available that is at a, let's call it reasonable price that Wyndham Land Trust could actually acquire even if we wanted to. So this would be a nice add to us. It's certainly along our strategic direction.
All right. The second part of this is Ken Bosley. The second part of, the Board of Selectmen had some conversations about these properties up there. Granted, they're landlocked. They've been probably picked up according to taxes, over the decades. One of the things that we do have up there as far as the town is the soccer field, which is 60 odd acres in that vicinity. And we have our challenges up there with some drainage, and we've been looking, it is one of our major recreational areas that we can further develop, with the town to do a variety of things. And just as you just stated, there is property to the west of that everybody's well aware, 117 acres. And one of the things I had talked with Steve, a few months ago was running the idea that, not knowing what's on the 117, if the Wyndham Land Trust would, in the event that you guys ever acquired property that abutted the soccer field area, would there be a possibility of, doing some form of a trade, not necessarily, acre for acre, but something that could enhance us both. If you ever went to that, you were able to gain property that abutted the towns.
A quid pro quo. We've heard that term, right?
all too much lately in politics. You're right.
Andy's gonna know. Everyone knows that we've got our eye on that Randolph piece. When that probate's going to be finished up and when we're going to be able to have some kind of substantive discussion, we don't know, and we have no idea what the intent is of the daughter that has inherited it. I don't know the property and how it is. I suspect that a lot of it is wet. Andy, is that the case?
Well, it's a mixture. It looks like the vast majority of the eastern boundary from the northern part to about, looks like almost the entire length of the boundary that runs along the soccer field line with that property is all wetlands. It drops off the topography. It kind of goes down, then it goes down to that wetland, that brook system with all the different beaver dams and that sort of thing that are there. I don't know how, I don't know, I think would make more sense. Were you guys thinking, well, you want a place where you could do some work to kind of like help alleviate the flooding? To me, it would be, I wouldn't say we'd do like a land swap. I would think it'd be more like maybe, we could work with the town where they could, do some kind of drainage to help alleviate the, maybe the water issues in the soccer field, but we'd still own the land, so it's still protected kind of thing. That would make the most sense.
That would make sense. I think that would also be the engineering feat of the century to drain that soccer field.
So before COVID started, if I could just interrupt for a minute, one of the things that I would like to start working on as a town is rectifying or looking into, can we make these soccer fields usable? Because for the last couple of years, the kids cannot use them because they're up to their ankles in water during some,
Wow.
the season. They're just not draining. And so this is something that I had talked to the rec director about starting a conversation about having, looking for donations, looking for money, whatever it is, grants, to be able to start to work on the drainage at the soccer fields. That is one of my personal agenda items. So with COVID, we weren't able to have, any kind of roundtable discussions or bring any people that might be interested. I talked to Steve Bourgois, and then Steve moved out of town. So in donating the land and talking about the Randolph property, that would be part of how could we all work together to not necessarily have you or have Wyndham Land Trust involved with the planning, because I don't know if that really fits into your scope of work, but how could we all work together where you would receive a donation and we would still be able to, if needed, have access to land possibly, or an easement, something to that effect, so that if needed, that land would be available to us.
Just, as a policy thing, we try very hard to be good neighbors wherever we are with all of our preserves. All right. Understanding, so I'm sure that we would all be willing to work with the town in some way. From a practical perspective, might there be some advantage to some kind of drainage? Yeah, as long as it's not going to obviously impact the ecosystem on the property, should we acquire it. The other thing to understand is that that's not going to be a donation, that property.
The Randolph.
No.
Right.
We're going to have to pay a lot of money for that one. We're going to have to get a lot of grants to acquire that one.
Carolyn, did you have something you wanted to say? I saw you raise your hand.
Yes, I did. Some of you are probably aware, maybe not all, but that whole parcel with the soccer field, it's just under 70 acres, was given to the town by the federal government, because what they did there was they excavated earth materials when they were making the dam. Now, obviously, they intersected the water table at certain areas, and it seems to me that in order to make it usable for soccer fields, you're going to need to bring earth material in to raise everything up. And that, combined with some kind of an engineered drainage plan, whatever those options may be, I think that that's the way to go. I think if you're serious, if you have a group that's looking into this, you really need the expertise of an engineer as to what your options are to make that usable.
Absolutely.
So that's just part of the equation. I just wanted to bring that out.
So I'm assuming that it's some general engineering feasibility concept work has not been done?
That's correct. Mike, early stages of having just conversations here and there of putting together a meeting to bring interested parties to the table was where we were at, and then we got shut down. And so it kind of took a backseat to everything.
Right.
Because it's, it's not necessarily the priority. If the kids can't get together and play, then it got shut down for the most part.
Got it.
Okay, we did have UConn students in the engineering department a few years ago do a look at the field itself, and they came up with a couple of ideas for drainage, but that's students looking at it, not being signed off by an actual engineer. But the students did look at it and pretty much came up with either raising the level of the fields or putting in drainage under it in order to get the water to come off. So there's something out there that we do have in the planning office that does show their preliminary conclusions, but it was a step in the right direction to start looking at the issue, but it does come down to a lot of serious money to rectify that.
Long term, hopefully we're able to acquire the Randolph property. This all kind of is going to dovetail together very nicely between your recreational facility, if you can work out the drainage issues, and also the passive recreation for the preserve. And that would also make some sense because we've been trying to look at different areas for entrances and parking. And we looked at the end of Bull Hill Road itself, about potentially doing something there. But again, one day when we do have that Randolph property, it would make sense to be able to utilize the parking area up at the soccer fields also for people.
Correct.
Yeah, it could be a great partnership between the land trust and the town.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yes. Yeah.
Are there,
Yeah, I definitely don't think there would be an issue with like the land trust if we had, working with the town with, if we own that land to have, impacts the property we own to try to help you out. Something, working with towns are part of something we do, it's just.
Exactly. And, we receive funding from some of the towns for that they've got open space acquisition funds and things of that nature. So we've always, we've just recently done that with the town of Pomfret for another large development plan that we've got going on there. So we've always maintained good relationships with our local towns. And quite frankly, Amy, prior to you being selectman, Ken and I would have regular conversations on a regular basis, and I'd be letting him know what we were working on and things like that. So we keep that line of communication, and obviously Carolyn is integral to what's going on also. So
from a practical matter, then, I think would the Wyndham Land Trust be willing to essentially sign some sort of letter of intent or something, a thing that would work with the town if we were ever able to acquire the Randolph property? I'm sure the board would more than consider that.
mhm.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That'd be great.
right.
Yeah, I think that would be good to have something in writing, definitely moving forward. Obviously, this is not just the Board of Selectmen's decision. We would have to send this out for town approval, but I think that it's definitely something that we are I'm ready to probably move forward. Now that we've had a little discussion here and we know how everyone feels, I think that with a letter stating that, we would work together with any kind of land issues moving forward, that I think that would be good. Carolyn, you had your hand up again.
You're privy to the details of the report from the UConn students. Can you tell me offhand, did they establish where the water table is?
I don't recall. It was a few years ago that they did it.
Are those documents still available?
Yeah, the Tara should have those in her office.
Good. I think that's a good starting point.
Can somebody have her forward those to the selectmen maybe, or to this group so that we, or at least so I can get a look at them?
Yeah,
Sure.
I can talk to her about that today. Try to get them out to you.
Yeah, that would be good.
Steve?
Yeah, Amy, you had mentioned, and I didn't hear it clearly, that there was one parcel you needed to check with the town attorney because it was dedicated toward something. And I didn't
Yeah,
hear.
the deed states that it was a woodlot, was given to the town by Harriet Lyons in 1896 in trust for the benefit of the poor. So it basically says in the deed for the benefit of the poor.
Which parcel is that? Do you know, Amy?
On the map, it's number 1. It's the one closest to Ravenel Road.
It's
Okay,
It doesn't
right.
have frontage, but
that's the one. That's the one next to the Ravenel farm that we just purchased.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's probably the largest one.
So it's
21.
map 44, block 105, lot 25.
Well, we don't discriminate on the basis of income, whether you can walk on our property or not. So rich, poor, middle income, or whatever, everyone's welcome there. So I think that would be for the benefit of the poor, if you wanted an impromptu opinion.
I like that.
I do too.
I don't have
Very
any.
quick, Steve. Quick thinking, Steve.
Well, I think this has been a good conversation, for us to, as a board and, talking with you guys, to work together. I think that's a definite positive going forward in any of our future endeavors as a town.
Agreed.
I agree. I think this was good for us all to get together. Thank you.
Thank you.
for
So
arranging.
procedurally,
Great.
will you be voting today on the parcels and then voting to send it to a town meeting or?
We can, or we could, what,
We want to wait for that 7th parcel to know the status on the 7th parcel? To get the official from the town attorney or?
yeah, do we need to vote on it today, or could we have it on the agenda for our next meeting?
We can have it on the agenda for the next meeting.
I
And that
would
way
lean,
Yep,
I would lean towards the next meeting
okay.
at the earliest, yeah.
All right, thank you. Just good to know.
We meet a week from tomorrow, so we meet on the 19th.
Right.
And you said you had a special town meeting scheduled this month or?
No, potentially February 9th. I'm waiting to hear back from council on that, so.
Okay. All right, just so we can explain to our board at our regular meeting this month what's going to be happening here.
Okay, great. I'll keep you apprised.
And as far as the agreement, Amy, is that something that our attorney would draft up, or?
I would think as far as the letter of
in-
intent
Yeah,
to work together, et cetera.
okay,
Yeah, I would think the attorney would draw that up. That would be and that would have to be presented to the town as well, as
right,
we're donating land, but with the intention of working together cooperatively to improve the fields.
With the understanding that we may never acquire the parcel.
That too.
Well, maybe there's a way of writing, Steve, you know this as an attorney, that maybe there's a way of writing a letter that any future endeavor, that we'd be able to work together to enhance both of our goals.
right,
And
non-specific.
as a blank.
Right.
Non-specific, right.
Exactly, a general-
Because, yeah, I'm sure that they don't want to influence, trying to acquire a piece of land, the value of the land or anything, because that's detrimental in any, negotiations going forward, if it ever comes to that.
Right.
It's a good point.
Right. Right, and we can't necessarily restrict it because the land itself, because we do rely upon governmental funding, for example, state DEP grants, and that could hamper our ability to get the funding.
Okay.
Right.
We don't want to do that.
No.
Great.
All right,
All right.
All right.
Good.
great meeting.
Great, thank you.
Okay,
Thank
and
you
I'll
very much.
Make
Just
a
Seeing
motion,
you all.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
make a motion that we adjourn the meeting at 10:24 a.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a great one.
Bye.
Thank you.